What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Smoking Tire Podcast. This one is brought to you by My Wall Street. You know, stock market is confusing, and I tried to get into the stock market, but I had no idea if the portfolio I was building or the stocks I was investing in were going to make any sort of return. You know, it was easy to set up a broker, but I didn't know what to do. What kind of companies do I invest in beyond my own personal passions? Most brokers and investing apps are this sort of black box. Very few of them really give you helpful guidance on what stocks to actually invest in successfully. That's where My Wall Street comes in. You're the one in control, but they provide you with a short list of thoroughly researched stocks that they believe show significant growth potential, and then I decide which ones to invest in. They act as an investing companion, not a broker, guiding you on building a diversified long-term portfolio. They're there from every step, from setting up the broker to starting and then managing my own portfolio. My Wall Street helps you take that first step into the world of investing and guides you towards making educated decisions throughout your investing life. They make it simple, they help educate you, and they are not brokers. All our listeners can access the entire My Wall Street app for free and use it for 30 days instead of the normal 7 days. If you visit mywallstreet.com, that's my WALLST, mywallst.com/TST. Download the app now. Get access to their market-beating stock picks and expert guidance for just 30 days free, and then $9.99 a month. After your trial, continue your investing journey for just $99 a month. That's My Wall Street, spelled mywallst.com/TST. All right, you've seen those Russian dash cam videos. They're crazy. Crazy things happen when you're in your car and when you're around your car and when your car's parked and around it. Things happen around your car. You want to get those things on camera. They might be evidence. They might be revenue you could earn on YouTube. They might be a story. The Nextbase is the world's leading dash cam brand. It's now available in the US. You've seen them in Russia. You know the ridiculous and stupid things that happen. You want one. But Nextbase is more than just a dash cam. The new Series 2 range includes 5 models packed with exciting features, stunning image quality, up to 1440p resolution, and an IPS touchscreen. There's an SOS emergency system. It's a world's first for dash cams. It'll immediately alert emergency service if it experiences an incident like a crash or a major incident. There's cabin or rear-facing add-on modules to allow you to view the inside of the vehicle, the road behind you, perfect for parents or ride-share drivers, or to get video of crazy tailgaters. Get peace of mind when you drive with Nextbase. Now available at Best Buy, stores nationwide in the US and Canada, or online at Amazon. Now, here's what you do. Buy it at Amazon, use code 20SMOKING, that's the number 20SMOKING, and get 20% off all Nextbase dash cams on Amazon with code 20SMOKING, 20SMOKING. Get a Nextbase camera on Amazon. I got 20% off their whole model range for you. Do it, do it, do it. Speaking of doing it, you know what I did this morning? Shaved my face and my head to look good for my wife and to be pimping at Cars and Coffee in the Countach. And when I shave, first I go buzzer, and that means the Brio Beardscape, and then I go with the proper razor in the shower. The Brio Beardscape lets me do this procedure for about 1.5 years in between charges. The battery lasts forever. It's perfect for trimming your face, your head, or general manscaping. They put manscaping in quotes here. That means balls. It means it's good for shaving your balls. There's different attachments for different size, different cuts. There's a ceramic blade which gets more, stays sharper, lasts longer, and you have to oil it less frequently than stainless steel. Plus, it's got a real powerful motor. It cuts through that thick hair if you got that fucking Habibi thick hair like I do, and it's great, man. I like the Beardscape very much. I originally started as just reading an ad, but I legit use the Beardscape every single week for like the last 2 years. Go to brio4life.com. That's BRIO, the number 4 life.com, and get the best price on the internet with code SMOKING. Brio4life.com, code SMOKING. Best price online for the Brio Beardscape. Lastly, check out Autotempest.com. If you're looking to buy a car, if you're looking to see what the collector market is about, if you're looking to see what is available and on the market, this is where you need to be. Autotempest.com searches all the top car sites on one page at the same time, and then compares those results to Craigslist nationally, and then all of Auto Trader. It is brilliant. It brings all these results into one page, so you don't have to type in the same information into dozens of different sites and have a million tabs open. It's double work, it's triple work, it's extra time, and your time is worth money. So when you're looking for a car online, check out Autotempest.com and check all of those sites at the same time. All right, on this episode of the podcast, we got Kyle Connor, who has just driven his Tesla Model 3 from New York's Red Ball Garage to the Portofino Inn in Redondo Beach faster than anyone has ever done it before. 45 hours and change, coast to coast in an electric car. A new record. He's in studio talking about it. Kyle Connor on the Smoking Tire Podcast.
What up, folks? Smoking Tire Podcast, mini podcast today. I got a lot of things going on with the new building, and Hannah just got home from Australia, 10 days in Australia. So I could only make a couple minutes to do this show. I didn't want to let it pass me by, though, because I got news that a dude I kind of knew, at least through social media, actually broke the EV Cannonball record by a fucking margin. So we've got Kyle Connor, one of the pair. I don't want to discredit Matt Davis. Yeah, yep. your homie who you did it with.
Yep.
But he ain't here, and you is.
That's
so
correct.
Fuck him. No, I'm kidding.
He's actually at an event in Michigan setting some record with like the number of Mini Coopers going over a bridge, which is kind of funny.
Is he the record setter guy? Has that how this went?
No. We just he was the only one stupid enough to come with me that I knew.
Oh, and he was already going to set a record. He's like, let me just try to set this record on the way to setting a record.
Right.
The mini people. Is he a mini person?
Yeah. So I've had a couple minis, and the mini owner clubs are a little weird.
I had one too. I went to that Mini Takes the States thing.
I've done it. Yeah.
I think 07 maybe. It was the first one.
Yeah.
Whatever year the first one was. There was full of eccentrics.
I did Takes the States twice. One year I treated it like a gumball rally with a couple guys.
We probably didn't expect that.
We got kicked off a racetrack for going too fast.
Wow.
They put us on a racetrack. They didn't say anything about no hot laps. So I'm like going on. And I had a Countryman. It was kind of like modded and shot flames out the back. It was kind of cool.
Ooh, and a Countryman that shoot fire?
Yeah, it was like an all-wheel drive, a rally build. And we'd take it to the tail of the Dragon and rip it up and track.
When I reviewed a Countryman, I brought it to a dirt road and was just sliding it on the island that my parents live on in South Carolina. Has these beautifully dirt roads, and I was like, this thing kind of mobs. Like you can fucking lift off oversteer. They're kind of sweet, actually.
Yeah, so we did massive brakes. Anyway, we ended up
Countryman gets a bad rap, but it's not that bad actually.
That car had 140,000 miles of basically my first car in high school abuse,
and it lived.
It went through 3 engines, and the person I sold.
No, the answer is no. It didn't live.
Anyway,
it was fucked from the warranty period ending.
It had no warranty. So we did Takes the States, and I get on the racetrack like the first day. We're at Charlotte Motor Speedway, and I'm going wide open. We're on an oval. I want to see if I can hit, 140, 150, whatever it would be. That car's not crazy fast. I pull off the track and people start screaming at us, and we're like, you're no longer allowed. So we mobbed every single road unofficially.
What racetrack was that?
That was Charlotte Motor Speedway. We got kicked off. Yeah.
That's ridiculous. Getting kicked. If you don't tell someone,
we had no idea.
Not only not tell someone, you need a lead car. You know what I mean? You need a car with lights and sirens to make sure that people don't, because otherwise it's like, I'm going on a racetrack now. Here's what's going to happen in this scenario,
Right.
Tell me you were wearing a helmet or something ridiculous like that too.
Not really.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, no, I like. Yeah. It's one thing, because if they put you in a track with a fucking helmet
on, then it's like you're going.
Now it's different.
Yeah.
All right, so you just drove a Tesla Model 3.
That's correct.
From New York, Red Ball Garage.
Red Ball.
To Portofino Inn.
Yep.
In 45 hours and
16 minutes.
That's fucking short. That's really short.
So
for an EV, that's really short.
Yeah.
I mean, it is. And
Yeah.
I love the fact that that because of the EV thing and the charge times and all that, people just openly talk about their times. Like, it's like
I figured
they're not fast enough that you just talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, our overall average is like 68 miles an hour or something like that. And like
fine.
our moving is just under 80. So like it's not that big of a deal.
So when I've driven Model 3s, I like the Model 3. I think people think I don't like the Model 3 because I think there's a lot wrong with the company behind that builds it.
Yep.
And we can get there if you want.
We should.
But I do like the Model 3. But I've never in my week with one, I spent a week with one, drove around the city, thought it was great. But I've never road tripped one. So give me like the basics of planning a road trip in a Model 3, just because I haven't done it. And a lot of people I imagine out there haven't done it either.
So I think there's a lot of misconception with electric vehicles in that you're limited to the initial range that the battery has. So essentially, I take a lot of road trips in this car. I do about 5,000 to 6,000 miles a month, and
that's a lot.
Yeah, and it's one of the
Do you have a
reasons
job?
I have an EV. Well, it's all out of spec, so I travel around for it, which is really fun. and we'll get into that in a little bit. But essentially, you 90 or 100% charge the car before you go, drive for 3 or 4 hours. You stop at a supercharger, of which there are many, and we charge up for anywhere realistically on a road trip about 30 minutes, let's just say on average, and get food, let the dog pee. I have a golden retriever. She comes with me most places, and then we're on to the next one. So road tripping is really easy in an electric car.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Do you ever have to wait in lines for superchargers, though? Because that would drive me nuts if there was 2 people in front of me and I had to wait a half hour for each one.
I've never had that scenario. Actually, on our run out here, we stopped, and I have to tally it up, but somewhere between like 17 or 18 different superchargers to get from New York to LA, and we saw 2 Teslas charging total.
I don't think people really use them at road trips. When I've had them and I've gone to like the mall right over here that's got them.
Yeah.
I haven't had to wait more than one. Like, I've seen them all full once.
Yeah.
And I did have to wait a bit, and I found that annoying. When I did drive the Jag I-Pace, which is a car I really, really liked.
I love it.
Great, cool car. Go check out my video.
Yeah.
And a lot of the things I like about that are in this Range Rover I have outside. But
we should talk about that.
But the non-supercharger situation, like the regular EV charging situation in LA, sucks balls.
Well,
it's terrible.
Yeah, LA sucks in general for having an electric vehicle and not being able to charge at home. I think that is from owning EVs. I've had an i3, I had a Model S, I had a P100D. It was awesome.
Where do you live? Where's home?
In Raleigh, North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I mean, like, I have a garage and I can plug my car in, and we have a couple chargers in there. But if I had to go somewhere to charge my car to just commute to work and back, if I can't charge at work or home, it doesn't make sense right
It's
now.
like a game over.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, especially here where there's so many people relying on superchargers to charge their car.
Yeah, and an issue with that doesn't really get brought up enough, and I only know about it because I have built a building across the street that requires quite a bit of power. The city doesn't really have a strong enough power grid to sustain an EV car populace of any real significance.
Right.
Like,
So,
you have to completely redo, not just like, and we're not talking about like get rid of gas stations and put EV chargers. Like,
right, you need the
dig
power to support
up
it.
the fucking streets everywhere. Tear down the power plants. Like, completely new power grid.
Yeah, no. So there are some things that, and so Out of Spec, the company I started, gets pretty involved with the charging. We work with charging manufacturers and vehicle manufacturers to sort of help integrate this problem a little bit. One of the things around these massive spikes of power at random times to fast charge an electric car, I mean, we're talking 150 to eventually 350 plus kilowatts, is to have battery storage at the charging site itself. So you can slow charge the batteries or some kind of energy storage device. And then you can,
like gas stations have those big underground tanks. You dig them shits up and bury batteries.
Well, I mean,
is that what we're doing?
I mean, there's things you can do other than batteries theoretically, but right now that seems to be the best solution for this type of problem. And then you can pretty much just, it's not going to be 100% utilized all the time. The chargers will be used, let's say, 4 hours out of a day. So you just slow charge that thing up and then drain that sucker into the car.
That's not a terrible plan. That's not so bad. I could probably. I mean, I'm sure someone's done the math on that, and that's
sure. I mean, Tesla just built a, and we'll try not to get too geeky about charging, but Tesla built a station in Las Vegas last week, and it's using the new version 3 superchargers, which is 250 kilowatts, so about 1,000 miles of range in 1 hour added to a car. It's crazy fast for EV standards. I mean, we're approaching fueling times. They have battery storage and solar that feed into those chargers.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in a desert climate, I completely understand why that works. Right. It would work in LA. I mean, we probably have enough sun in LA to do it. Yeah. And we got enough desert. Like, we got so much desert. Like, and the government owns a bunch of desert. Like, some of this should be...
It would take such a small area percentage-wise of the whole country to put solar generation and other forms of sustainable power generation to power the entire country. I mean, it's like a few little bricks out of Texas, essentially.
Yeah. But people own the land, I guess, and they don't want to. They don't want to look at it. They don't want to do the thing.
In terms of transporting.
Getting it there though is still a problem, even if it's generated with solar panels, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we transport power over far distances with coal stations or nuclear power. I mean, you just super high voltage and there's minimal losses with higher voltage.
And in fairness, I suppose in LA they are mandating new construction be solar ready or in fact have solar installed, and so if you are charging a car at home, like I don't know if the solar is going to power your whole house, but the solar is probably enough to keep the car charged. Yeah, if you have some sort of battery storage as well, right?
Yeah, so I'm not a crazy expert on PV cells, photovoltaic cells, solar panels, but essentially a solar panel can offset a lot of your use during peak times. I'm a firm believer that solar generation doesn't really work without battery storage. If a cloud runs over, you lose your solar. You're going to need to spike power from somewhere else, and that's on a grid size scale as well as a home scale. So I like the idea of pairing solar with battery storage. Or again, we're going to need a lot of freaking batteries, and that's another problem that I don't understand.
Like,
the mining
don't those minerals have to come from somewhere?
And cobalt's really bad, and I know we can recycle a lot of this into second life use, and there's been a ton of studies, so I'm not even going to begin to try and predict how that's all going to unfold. But it's certainly, there's no perfect solution here to reducing our carbon impact of the entire world's transportation and energy needs.
No, and I'm totally pro EV. I just keep running into like these questions like, well, everyone just buy EVs, and it's like, I don't actually think that will work. I think like we're going to end up we're just shoveling you know what I mean? Like,
I see what you mean.
Without being an EV ready city, and I know they have to kind of go together,
Yeah, I mean, the problem with EV adoption, like let's forget about the argument if everyone buys an EV, because we're still at like what, 1% maybe.
Yeah,
car sales.
maybe in LA it's 4, I think.
Right.
But,
it's big here. The biggest
there's a lot of Teslas in the city.
Oh my God,
a shitload of them.
I was just on autopilot on the way over here, and it's like there's a Tesla.
Especially here, Playa Vista, like we're across the street from YouTube and Facebook and like all that stuff. Like this is where you see them.
It's so sick. By the way, those new apartments over there in Playa Vista.
That's nice. Who I will be serving with Westside Collector Car Storage, where I have 2 EV chargers in our lower level.
Well, it's so important, I think, especially for people that need to store weird new electric cars, especially as we start to see some of these EV supercars come out.
Yeah, and I think I don't really expect to see that. I expect to see people who daily drive Teslas and drive Ferraris on the weekend and leave their Model S or Model 3 charging while they take out their other car. Perfect. And that's totally fine. I wanted to build more. Yeah. I wanted to build 4 chargers, but because I'm limited to 400 amps in the building.
Is that all for that whole building?
Yeah. And so we actually, and the rating for, this gets a little nerdy too, but the rating for the inspections and stuff is 80%. Right. So it's really 320. And they count it as literally turn on everything you can at the same time.
Right, because it's continuous rating. It has to be 80% continuous.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even though the odds of everything we own being on at the same time are like none.
Right.
So we had to do some really interesting things with how the lifts are wired in order to stay under. And in fact, we couldn't add any more EV chargers than 2 either, because it would have taken us over.
So you probably can't run more than 1 lift at one time.
Correct. Even though I have 3 motors, I can only run 1 at a time because of how the power is routed legally. But I've tried to mitigate this by upgrading from 10 horsepower motors to 20 horsepower motors, so the lifts themselves go faster.
Right.
So instead of taking 40 seconds to move up a level, it takes like 26 seconds. So
and it's 3 levels?
They stack 4 high.
4 high.
Yeah.
Okay,
although
so it has to go up 3.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's freaking wild.
Yeah,
I saw
crazy.
the building and
it's
it
real
is
crazy.
insane.
Yeah, it's real crazy.
Yeah,
So
I'm all about it.
But anyway, I don't have a ton of time with you. So all right. So 45 hours. How does this go? How do you decide to plan the route? What's your preparation? How are you feeling? All that kind of good stuff.
So in the past, I ever since high school days, the Cannonball has sort of been this elusive, like, cool thing. When Alex set the record, I was like, oh my god, this is an E39 M5. Everyone knows about that car, what Alex did. And
you met Alex, right?
I've never met, but been talking
really?
to. Yeah. We've been
should.
texting back and forth. So I decided then I need to do this. And then when Alex's record was broken by Ed Bullion in 28 hours 50 minutes, I'm like, that is a tough. Like, you're going to jail. Essentially. Like, there's no question. Mm-hmm. So I'm a big fan of innovation when it comes to technology, transportation, anything that's new and interesting. So electric vehicles I got into a little while ago, and I like EVs. I don't think it's the end-all be-all solution, but I enjoy them for now. And I'm like, well, let's start looking into what a record would be. And at the time, I was working for Tesla, and I'm like, well, I really can't do anything while I'm working for the company. So I left a year ago and started out of spec motoring and decided, hey, this is a great time to start doing the run. So a few weeks ago, I'm sitting on the beach in the Dominican Republic, and I'm like, I'm going to go do the run. I think the chargers were just upgraded, and I mapped it out. I'm like, well, I think I can do probably 47 hours realistically. And really we did. We broke Alex's record by 5 hours to the minute.
Someone else did in between, right?
This is wild. Okay, so I came to the Portofino in LA last week to prep for the end of the run. My girlfriend was moving to Australia. I'm like, this is a great tie-in. She flies out from here. I'm going to do and time myself into LA and just make sure I know where to go. I fly into the Portofino and I see a Model 3 with Jersey plates. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Someone drove one cross country. Like, good for them.
Turns out,
after we set our record and sort of just made a quick Facebook post about it, 4 hours before we went got picked up by the media, these people said, oh, okay, well, it's like a family from Switzerland. I've talked to them. They're very nice. Did it in 48 hours, 10 minutes, I think. So a little bit slower than us, but they basically shipped their Model 3 over from Europe back to the U.S. It was an early production car that they brought over there. Decided before they sell it, let's go do a cross-country Cannonball, and then we'll sell the car. And they did, and they beat Alex's record by 2 hours, which is really impressive for them just cruising.
Can you ship a car that was sold in Europe?
It was sold here.
Oh, it was sold here, and they exported it themselves.
Correct. Before the Model 3 came out in Europe, they brought it over there.
All right, that makes sense. I was going to say, otherwise, that's very shady.
Yeah,
Okay.
It was sold here.
Right. That's a crazy thing. They did it, and then you did it like unknowing each other. That's fucking awesome.
Totally unknown. Like, I had no clue, but I had seen that car. So a week later, I go and do the run, and our run was significantly flawed. Even though we did it really great in terms of our time, we got stuck. It took us almost 3 hours to get through Indianapolis. We got stuck in so much traffic. We had pouring rain, big headwinds. Pretty much everything other than the charging situation that could go wrong kind of did.
Yeah.
But we basically...
But isn't the charging situation so important in this case that other things going wrong actually while in transit, if you got to wait a half hour for a charger...
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Even in a half hour of traffic, you're moving,
Right.
and you're not using a ton of battery while you're doing it, presumably, right? I guess.
Not the way we drove.
Oh, well, in traffic though.
Right. In
I guess
traffic, it's minimal.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
So yes,
a
you're
charging issue could be way worse than a traffic issue or a weather issue, right?
Right, absolutely.
I feel like with electric, it's like if you're moving, it's good.
Yes. Yeah. So charging has gotten so fast now that to balance the speed charging, like some people will go, okay, we're going to try and be as efficient as possible, use the least amount of energy. We have a really efficient car, and I lowered it a little bit for better efficiency. And charging is so fast that pretty much the break-even point is above 120 miles an hour.
Wait, say that again. The break-even point of what?
Of travel distance. So when you factor in driving speed and charging speed.
Oh, okay. So if you're going faster, you're going to burn so much battery that you're going to have to charge more, and then becomes less worth it.
Yeah, but that breakover is at 120.
Okay.
Plus or minus a few. So you can really fly. I mean, you can't go flat out like you could in a gas car in some places. And we did hit the top speed of the car multiple times because we had energy to burn, and it was kind of fun. We're on a Cannonball. But yeah. So you basically can just fly from charger to charger now, and that's exactly the methodology that we used. Was we're going to go as fast as possible between each charger, and honestly, very little planning to the trip. We kind of left New York City 5 a.m.
Can you put the route into Tesla's nav and it will plot the superchargers on the way for you?
Yes, and absolutely it will work for any normal person taking a road trip just to follow that system.
Yeah.
Our methodology worked a little bit quicker because we wanted to pull into each charger pretty much completely empty and then charge to
so
about,
you pushed their conservative fill up now kind of range.
Yeah, when I plugged it into the Tesla, I think our run was 10 hours quicker than what it predicted.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And then are you doing only up to the 80% fast charge, or are you going all the way?
No. The Tesla actually starts to cut your charging speed around 50%.
Okay.
So we charged anywhere up to about 55%, not much more than that.
Really? That's not very much.
No,
and how many hours of driving is that at the speeds that you were?
An hour and a half, 2
Oh,
hours.
wow. That's not far.
No.
And so
it's actually kind of tedious.
Yeah, that actually sounds like a fucking headache, frankly.
It's a
Are you
giant
napping
math
at the
problem.
superchargers too?
No, you have no time. You're there for 12 minutes or so. It's reset the nav systems,
fuck
go
me,
pee, and
really?
go. Yeah. Yeah.
Pro Vigil?
Yeah. So basically, most of
Definitely Pro Vigil, right?
Yeah.
We had this military dude in here yesterday.
Yeah.
And when I read the thing and he said, when we were talking about it, I was like, oh, we're gonna have this kid on tomorrow. He fucking did the thing, and I was like, Pro Vigil. He's like, oh, definitely Pro Vigil. He was like special forces, fucking hardcore, and he's like, never go out without it, bro.
Right.
For those who have no idea what I'm talking about, Pro Vigil is a narcolepsy drug that is given to soldiers and pilots, and it's not illegal. You get it from a doctor, and it's basically speed that's not speed. It doesn't make you speedy. It all it does is it turns off your tired. And it turns
you just
off.
Stay awake for longer.
Yeah, and you're not speedy, you're not jittery,
You don't
you're
get
not
the caffeine
edgy.
high.
Yeah, it's not caffeine or meth or coke or any of that. It is your tired is off, and then when you get to wherever you want to get and it's time to go to bed, you just lay down and go to bed.
Yep.
It is one of the coolest drugs ever made. And if you want to do a Cannonball, you fucking need it. Let me just tell you.
So the problem with the EV Cannonball idea, first off, I can never recommend anyone to do this. Of course, it is irresponsible to do this. The EV Cannonball times are going to decrease significantly over the next few years. We are starting to see cars that can charge faster, deeper into the pack, like Audi e-tron can fast charge to 80%, which is impressive. And we're also starting to see faster charging, 250, 350 kilowatt coming. And the stations, honestly, are getting much more plentiful. Electrify America is putting in a ton. That's probably the largest influencer in non-Tesla electric vehicle transportation.
What speed are they putting? Are they putting in like
350s?
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it's Volkswagen Dieselgate settlement money.
Oh, that's what that is.
It's their punishment.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, so
fucking good. Make them do it. I'm about that.
Yeah, but they're charging a fuck ton for the chargers.
Oh,
so like it's a punishment for them, right? And I think it's amazing.
Profitable.
But they're trying to make it profitable, which is like cool. But like this is supposed to be something that like is hurting Volkswagen, and they're basically taking it as an opportunity. And again, I don't think of this company in a negative way whatsoever. I'm a huge fan, and I've actually worked with them, and they're awesome. But they are taking sort of the primo spots for charging infrastructure and putting them in. They're also working on, I wish I would see more of it, putting in infrastructure in low-income areas. These are places that don't have electric vehicles yet.
People live in apartments. They don't live in houses, or they don't own their houses, so they're not going to spend the money to put. That's important.
That's important. I would rather see them be a little bit pushed harder to support infrastructure that may not come for another 20 or 30 years and put all that in now.
Yeah, the free market may not go there for quite some time.
Right. But they're doing some of that, so I can't fault them too much.
What happened there? That's odd. I don't know. That's paused. That's why. I think. I hope that's paused. Oh, we're still streaming. That's
Are we
good.
live? Good.
Yeah, we're still live. I'm totally with you on that, and I think that while I understand why Tesla would build a network of chargers for their own cars, they shouldn't necessarily be expected to. I think it would be. I mean, it's never going to fucking happen. If between Tesla and other manufacturers could agree on a standard or an adapter or something. And I also would like to see all these other non-supercharger networks have one fucking app that can unlock all of them.
That's one of the biggest problems to adoption. It's so complicated to find these damn things and to activate.
When I had the iPace and I needed to charge that shit.
Tell me about it.
It was a nightmare. It was a fucking nightmare.
So you can't charge at home.
I mean, I have a 110 at home. Like, if I owned one, I would install a charger. Okay, but let's pretend I can't. It's a press car. Okay, a 110 it charged at
probably 2 miles of range an hour.
1% every hour, whatever it was. It was terrible.
Right.
Okay, so I pulled up on the EV Go app. Is that right?
That's one of the companies.
One of them. Yeah. They gave me an EV Go like little wand thing on the cab. So that was the first one I looked at. There's the first one I drive to was behind a locked gate in an apartment complex.
Yeah.
The second one I drove to had 2 cars on it charging.
Yeah.
The third one I drove to was like super slow. Like 25 maybe.
25 kilowatt. Yeah.
Slow.
That sucks.
Yeah.
No, like that's not even worse than the other. So there is an app called PlugShare, and anyone who has an EV or a plug-in hybrid or any car that you can plug into anything should download PlugShare, and it's a web app as well. It is the most amazing crowdsourced finder of EV
like
charging.
the ways of chargers?
Yeah, so what it is it's run completely by the user group. So someone will post a charger and say, okay, here's where it is, here's the network it's on, and then you can check into that charger. If you have issues, if it's behind a gate, it will tell you. So even for our run, when we did the Cannonball in the Model 3, we would check PlugShare and look at which particular supercharger would give us the fastest speeds, essentially.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
that's good to know.
That you cannot drive an EV in any urban environment without PlugShare.
Well, that's good to know. But then now you need one where you can actually pay, through one app, or you don't because you need 16 accounts for all these different companies.
It is a bigger problem. Where I live on the East Coast, most of it's free, to be honest.
Really?
I
just incentivized for people to buy the...
Yeah, it's businesses who want to attract, people to come. And for 90% of my charges away from DC fast charging is all just plug and play, and you don't have to activate anything.
Yeah.
I recently took the Hyundai Kona electric.
Oh, yeah. How was that?
Honestly, a fantastic car. I wanted to push the charging infrastructure away from the Tesla thing. I think one of the problems with EVs is we can't just have one player make all of the really good cars. Other cars need to get to the point where you can easily road trip them, and that's a big holdup. So I took the Kona from Stamford, Connecticut, all the way to Marco Island, Florida, which is Naples, so southwest.
What a terrible drive. It's 95 forever.
I do this drive twice a month.
Really?
Yes,
what
it
a
sucks.
fucking
This is why I have my Tesla, so I can autopilot everywhere.
I mean, that is like, that is the kind of situation where San Francisco, LA, or anywhere down up and down 95, like I I get it.
Yeah, I mean, it is not a driverless technology at all.
Were you using autopilot during the record run?
Not really.
Yeah.
Only in traffic.
Yeah.
We were going so fast and we were making decisions way farther ahead than autopilot would ever think. It's not the kind of use for that. Autopilot's a basic driver assistance software that keeps you a distance away from the car in front and in your lane.
It's radar cruise
and that's it.
plus.
Right. I don't really like the naming of autopilot and full self-driving.
It's shady as hell. It's so shady.
It incentivizes people to look away from driving and to get on their phones and to not pay any attention.
Yeah.
All it takes is one person to walk in front of you and you're responsible for that car traveling 70 miles an hour down the road. So anyway, so I do this drive all the time. I took the Kona, and the Kona is a $40,000 small SUV. We won, I think, SUV of the year or something like that with one of the big reviewing agencies. And I used primarily Electrify America's newest charging infrastructure as well as some EVgo chargers. And it took long. On my YouTube channel, Out of Spec Motoring, I did a video walking you through basically the whole trip. And road tripping an EV other than a Tesla turns out is a lot more annoying than road tripping a Tesla right now.
I mean, even the $100,000 Jaguar EV I had, which frankly I preferred driving to most of the Teslas I've driven.
It blows away any Tesla I've ever driven.
Dynamically, it's excellent. It's built by a company that's built cars for 60 fucking years.
It drove great. The air suspension was awesome. I hung the tail out, pulling out of a corner with TST off.
I haven't driven a Model 3 Performance yet, but it did drive better than the Teslas I've driven.
Okay.
And it was built better for sure.
Yeah.
The tolerances were better and the seats were better. Yeah.
Did yours have the bucket racing seats in it?
No.
So there's like a $5,000 option. Okay.
Well, they race those things. Have you seen that shit?
I've seen the racing series. It's
I
hilarious.
have to say, it is comically terrible. They do it
Put
before
SUVs around a spec racing class.
I-Pace. It was before before Formula E.
Yeah.
And I forget where I was. I was in a fucking hotel in some foreign country and I was watching it. And it was shamefully terrible to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, it really was. Everything about it was embarrassingly bad.
Now, I haven't actually watched any of this, but I can imagine. But anyway, I-Pace as like a road car, I think is honestly the best electric vehicle itself on the market. It's the simplest to use. It doesn't over nerd the driver with everything. It's a car that has a battery.
It's not a meme.
Right. It's not a meme. You get in the car, you hit start, you push drive, and you arrive somewhere comfortably in style.
Yeah.
And it's a premium car.
Yeah.
I also spent some time with the e-tron recently.
Oh, yeah?
And I think Audi has done a fantastic job with the shell, with the seats. I was getting a great massage.
Well, they do a good job, but they've always done a great job.
It's an Audi first, and then it's kind of a shitty electric car other than that.
Really? The electricity part of it is not so great?
Yeah, the problem is they put a massive battery, 90 kilowatt hour, and they only allow you to use a little bit, and that helps, prevent the battery from degrading over time. It's not that fast. It's properly powered, I would say. Quicker than an ICE equivalent, but it's not throwing you back like a P100DX, which is fine. I don't think it needs to be like that. I mean, that's ludicrously fast, literally.
Oh, speaking of which,
the
book.
Yeah, tell us about that.
I just finished the book, Ludicrous, The Unvarnished Story of Tesla Motors, by Ed Niedermayer, who you might remember from The Truth About Cars, or you might know him from his work at The Drive, or he's on the Autonocast with Alex Roy, which is a podcast about autonomous vehicles and autonomous vehicle technology.
And all the ethical related things that go along with it.
Yeah, and there are a lot. And I try and get into a lot of these conversations, and I don't know everything. I'm not an engineer. I'm not I don't know software or coding but I understand what clear ethical implications are for the relationships between man and machine and how easily that can be corrupted by greed or political reasons or anything. And so I feel like people need to be very, very careful. And from the thing about Tesla that I learned from this book, which I think there's, on Twitter anyway, there have been some real Tesla crusaders who called Ed Niedermayer, called it a hit piece, and said that he's written other hit piece. I think hit piece, or when I hate when someone says they have books to sell, as if there's no bombshells here. There are zero bombshells in the book. Okay. But what it does is Tesla, like Trump, floods the internet with information,
and then they have a whole user base like so crazy passionate
Exactly.
about this company
who repeat it.
Yes, and then they're so they don't use their brain in some cases.
Well,
right?
the worship of the leader and the leader's vision is more important than the reality of the fact that, you know, if we're talking about Trump, you're running a government bureaucracy, whether you fucking like it or not.
Yep.
And with Tesla, you're a car company that is manufacturing things that people take home and use without your supervision.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Building rockets is amazing. That building rockets that can land is fucking sick.
I just saw their most recent rocket launch in Florida.
Bro.
Wild.
The illest shit ever.
Wild.
The fuck's that got to do with building cars?
Right.
Zero.
Right.
Zero.
Yeah.
You know who operates rockets? The people who built the fucking rockets.
Yeah.
They don't just sell them and people take them home and fly them.
Right.
There's a completely different world.
Yeah.
So anyway, what this book does really well, I think, is it boils the entire story of Tesla, the important bits, into something I could blast through in 2 days.
Good.
And by taking this bird's eye view, you see very obvious and clear repeated patterns, which are that they offer something basically impossible. And when they can't get there and they don't have enough money to deliver the thing they said they offer the next crazy thing, take deposits on that to finish the thing they already said they had finished, repeat.
That's been the trend, and I'm not here to knock Tesla, right? What I will tell you is, from my personal standpoint, is I'm really excited for legacy manufacturers to start taking electric transportation seriously, and to start making some actual good cars.
Yeah, I think the difference in a lot of ways between Tesla and the legacy manufacturers is how aggressive or conservative they're willing to be with the edges of what are we talking, battery technology, as you just said, with the Audi versus how, you know, Tesla's got fucking no problem. Flood them electrons, baby. Let's get this thing into the twos. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Audi's going, well, if we do that, the battery will literally melt out from under the car in 5 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think, and the same thing with the autopilot and that type of software, autopilot and Super Cruise and a lot of these other systems, they're built by the same, the hardware is all the same. It's just how flexible are we with the tolerances that give the impression, you know, that one system is better than the other.
Right.
It's just one system is actually a little more reckless, frankly.
Well, I will say I've driven probably 100,000 miles or so on autopilot, close, you know, plus or minus, and it has done some reckless things. But I expect it to do that because I understand that it is not driverless. The problem is people will buy the car, like we were just talking about. They have no clue. They're like, why? The problem is right now, Tesla has gotten so many Model 3 sales. Financially, it makes a lot of sense as a vehicle to either lease or purchase. It's cool. It's sexy. It's whatever, you know, it's a great form of basic transportation.
I like the cars, for the record.
Yep.
Drove it, liked it.
You got to separate cars
considered
from company.
buying one. Yeah, considered buying one. I enjoyed it, despite its flaws.
Sure.
I enjoyed it.
Education is the biggest holdup right now for using one and owning one. The company itself is a totally different volcano of problems and excitement. You know, if you just look at the product that they're making, it's pretty cool. Maybe it's not the most well built, but I can't. Honestly, there's no other electric vehicle or vehicle in general that I could daily drive with my needs.
I completely understand why somebody would want to buy the car.
Yeah. And
I think they would have not much trouble selling the car on its own merits. Like, maybe I'm wrong. But the problem is they don't actually make money on each car. And if you don't make money on each car,
you're not going to be around for long.
You know, the Silicon Valley plan is you just keep pumping cash into it until eventually it's worth so much you sell it. But that doesn't work when you have to physically make everything. It's software has a development cost, and then it's just print the money. Cars aren't like that. You have to warranty them and fix them and and maintain them. And so I think what the book does is it compares Elon's own words public words, whether it's from Twitter or it's from his own book or wherever, his statements that he says really that are not under question with the very harsh realities of the automobile manufacturing industry. Yeah. And in a way that, I don't know, I find credible.
Well, I'm really excited to read it. I think it's there aren't enough people holding Tesla to, again, what they promise and say. You get a lot of the fans and the owners, and I have done this at times too, is you make excuses for the company because you love your product so much and you want other people to enjoy it. But if you say you're going to make a whatever that does 0 to 60 in 1.9 seconds, you better make that thing.
Well, and they might. They may, with the Roadster, they probably will.
Yeah, I'm excited for that, by the way.
I'm sure. It's probably going to be fucking cool.
Yeah.
Here's an example, right? Just one example of the cynical way in which it appears Tesla has gamed the system in terms of optics versus reality. They presented a hot swappable battery situation for a very brief period of time.
And they opened up a test station for it
too.
They
did, a test station. Yeah. And oddly enough, no one was really told to go try it out.
Right.
And then it, quote, didn't work out after a couple months, and they decided that interest was low. Ed couldn't really find anybody that was invited to go use it.
Right. I don't know anything really about it.
And he went and sat there for like a couple days, and over a couple days, they didn't swap a single battery.
Interesting.
They did, however, have so many people trying to use the superchargers that there was an overflow that they brought out diesel generators to bring backup chargers. So just say.
I have seen that happen before, much less now that they actually put in some serious installs.
Which, fine. Not the worst thing, but then we learn later it seems there was some type of grant or credit to anyone who could present an EV that could recharge in under 10 minutes or something.
Right.
And all they had to do was present that it could be done with one car. They never had to actually offer it for sale to the public.
That's interesting.
And that timing of that matched up suspiciously with the hot swappable batteries that just never really materialized because of, quote, lack of interest.
Yeah, I got to read the book. I'm excited to learn about all these things, of course.
I'm sure Ed would send you one.
Yes, okay. Well, I purchased one, and I'm happy to spend the money to read it, but, I think it's good that someone's holding Tesla to what they say. That's all. That's my take on this whole situation.
And you can like the cars, and you can even buy one and be like, "Hey, stop being assholes over there. We would like you to do well, but you're shooting yourself in the foot over and over."
I totally agree.
Yeah. Tell me about out of spec motoring.
So out of spec is growing. We sort of coming up with the direction, but essentially the company is there to act as a difference and sort of a holdover point between gas car enthusiasm all the way to electric vehicles. So essentially, I think it's kind of silly to burn fuel as your daily form of transportation as you sit in traffic on the 405. So I think, having an electric smart car, something to cruise around in, but also enjoy that electric car you have is kind of cool. So there's very few people that are focused on anything outside of Tesla in the electric vehicle world right now. And
they did really, really get...
They got the whole thing.
I mean, just they figured out the sexiness of the electric car.
And you can't fault them for that.
Yeah.
We would not be where we are today without Tesla pushing electrification. But where we are today is we have like 4 other electric cars.
Yeah, they're all like fucking whack econo boxes.
They're like kind of weird. Like, who wants to buy a Nissan Leaf that overheats after 2 chargers and it looks awful?
I loved my Volt. I'll defend the Volt and I really liked it.
You loved that thing.
I did. You know why? It asked absolutely nothing of me.
Right.
When I needed it to be electric, it was electric. When I needed it to be gas a couple times, it was gas.
Right.
And then I gave it to my sister because she needed a car when she came to LA. She knows less than nothing about cars. And she didn't have a charger at her building.
So she just ran it gas?
Just ran it on gas and averaged 40 miles a gallon for 2 more years.
Did she ever drive it when it was fully charged? Like, see the difference?
Yeah, no. I charged it for her at my house a couple times, but and she liked it. And then she got another one when
cool.
she ended up buying the newer generation.
The interior is really nice on the new ones.
It was great. Yeah. I mean, but it was still such an economy car. Economy car seats, economy car plastics. And look, for it was 70% of a Tesla for $199 a month.
So
you know what I
sick.
mean?
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah.
But I still really do want to see a company that's built cars for 50 or 60 years or 100 years,
Right.
you know, take a real stab at this. But
I think Volkswagen Audi Group's probably doing the best right now, in my opinion, from everything that I hear. So yeah, Out of Spec is essentially the reviewing, the testing, the explaining, the road trips, the off-road track tests. We have partnered with a track in North Carolina, so we have our own racetrack to start putting cars
rules.
around. It's freaking awesome.
What track?
It's called North Carolina Center for Automotive Research.
oh,
Terrible
cool!
name.
It's like one of those like educational tracks.
Yes, it's a 2.5 mile long road course.
wow.
We have 40 charging points. We hold electric vehicle track days there, actually, and anyone can come use our track. You just give me a call and I'll rent it to you for the hour, essentially.
Really?
Or 2 hours, yeah.
Oh, look at that! That's a real fucking track, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
That looks pretty nice.
It's freaking awesome. I mean,
Can you
it's,
only run electric cars there?
No. Bring anything you want. We've had some friends bring Porsches, Ferraris. We had a guy with a Lotus who like stayed out there all day.
Interesting section. It actually looks like a good place to practice drifting.
That's exactly what I was
It
about
looks
to
like
say.
a really nice place to do some slides.
Yeah, I had a Panamera Turbo for a little while. I bought like a used one, put a whole bunch of miles on it, sold it for basically what I paid for it.
Yeah.
And we did 5 hours straight of sideways driving in that car.
Panamera, it's hard to break a Porsche.
The only
very
thing
hard.
I will say is this car, it had 40,000 miles. If you were sideways around some of those bigger corners in the heat, it would overheat. Like it would kick on like limp mode, but I was pushing it.
Probably the diff. I mean, it's probably the diff,
it
right?
was engine coolant.
Oh,
and
really?
I brought it into the dealer. I'm like, hey, what's going on?
Listen, when I'm drifting this car,
Yes. No. So I had before that car, I had a Range Rover, and I gave my service center the best RO ever. And it was at 136 miles an hour. There's a squeak coming from the front left window. And it honestly was annoying.
Yeah.
And it would happen when it was raining, but in dry, that's how you had to test it. And the tech took my word for it. He didn't test it, of course, and they replaced it under warranty, which was very nice of them.
solid.
Yeah.
Just because?
Just because I said it was at a crazy high speed. They took it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
They also replaced the whole supercharger and center diff and everything else on that car.
I love the Range Rover I have for 7 days.
Right. So it's an SVR.
I got the SVR. I had the F-Pace SVR last week.
Same engine,
Same engine, same gearbox.
same tuning on the engine. Does it drive
No,
the same?
no. I mean, no.
Okay.
They're very different cars.
Okay.
And then I have the Range Rover SVR now, and I've had the Range Rover for 25 minutes before I came over here. So
Right.
I drove it 4 miles to here, but it's
Yeah.
very, very different.
And very bright blue.
And it's all the Jag was very bright blue as well.
I like that color.
Here's the Jag. I didn't take any pictures of the Range Rover yet. Where's the Jag? The Jag is a really good blue. I think it was called something really lame. Like it didn't have a cool name.
Light blue.
It was not a good name, but it was a like Arctic or something. But it was this was a lovely car.
Yeah.
This one was 89 grand out the door.
Wait, it's 89 grand for the 5-liter V8?
Supercharged, 550
That's
horsepower.
a good value.
This thing fucking mobs.
Yeah.
This is like a luxury rally car.
I love it.
Yeah, it competes with the Macan Turbo.
Adjustable suspension?
No adjustable drive modes.
Okay.
But you can't adjust the suspension independently of the drive modes.
Okay.
Not air suspension.
Not air, but
no.
but damping. you can
Adaptive
adjust it.
dampers,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Air suspension, no.
Got it.
But it's 4,300 pounds. It's like 700 pounds lighter
Yeah,
than the Range
that's
Rover
light.
Sport.
I mean, that's like what my Model 3 weighs.
Right. It's
Yeah.
actually quite light for what it is, so it's really agile and fun and has good brakes, and I hammered the snot out of it. And it was great. And the Ranger was $40,000 more. So
So
you
unless
get,
you're going off-road.
yeah, you get the off-road hardware.
Yeah.
Is what you get really, and it has the iPace infotainment.
Right.
And it has with all the touch screens and shit. And
So you get that touchscreen air conditioning controls down below.
yeah, it's not my favorite.
It lags and
It's not my favorite.
Yeah.
No, it was a little buggy in the iPace, frankly.
My friend had a brand new Range Rover, like $160,000, like SVO. Somehow gets it into trailer mode, bricked the entire system, and they had to bring it to the dealer to get it reset.
I mean, this is what happens with these really complicated cars.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the over-the-air updates is a real interesting concept, and over-the-air diagnosis. I think that Tesla has shown that they can make your car better over the air, and they can
no
also
question.
make it worse over the air.
No question.
Yeah, like what if you're late on your payments and they're like, you get 50 horsepower now.
I mean,
you know what I mean?
There's so many things that could happen potentially. Thankfully, to this point, I don't think Tesla's done anything malicious with over-the-air software updates.
No, but there was, and I never heard a resolution from this. There was a story maybe a month ago that people found their range had been reduced
on the
P85s, and the story that sort of I never got an official anything about it.
Yeah,
and it sort of fizzled away. I never heard if they got their range back. People were saying it might have been a software error, or it might have been an effort to stave possible battery replacement under warranties for P85Ds that were driven in a way that you might expect, a really fast car is driven.
Yeah, I mean, my comment would be purely speculation. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I don't know if there was a
Mine
resolution.
too.
Yeah.
So, but it was happening. It could, but it just like, I'm not saying definitively that it happened, but I'm saying it is possible that they could do that.
There's no technical reason why that is not possible.
Yeah.
I will say, since I've owned my Model 3, I've put about 50,000 miles on it. I have gotten more power, more range, significantly more power, especially above 40 miles per hour, more range, and much better and different autopilot features. So my car's gotten better. There's no question that it's better than the day I purchased it.
Well, that's good.
It is great.
The credit where it's due.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, I just plugged it in Hawthorne earlier and got 250 kilowatt charging speed.
Well, in Hawthorne.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a fucking Tesla factory in Hawthorne.
Yeah. The design studio. Yeah. But that's where they, that was their technical testing site for V3 supercharging.
Yeah.
And it's just cool. It gets better. But there is no technical reason why it couldn't get worse.
It could.
I had a P100D Model S that I would pretty much launch mode at every stoplight, and it was my personal torture test machine. It was under warranty. I'm like, well, okay.
Did it get better or worse?
It got worse over time.
It did.
But I also pulled the ESP fuses and drifted it around our track for quite a while and went through a set of super sports in an hour.
I hope you did that for a video at least.
Yes, it's on the Out of Spec Motor channel.
Good.
Yes.
Check that out. All right, let's get through a couple of questions and then I got to go, and I'm sorry because you've been a great guest.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And you've actually got, you know your shit. You're good. You're on point.
Thank you.
You should do a show. Turns out you do.
Yes, Revolution podcast just started. We're going to do probably one a week, different guests each week. Yep.
Right. I saw on the non-super chat, I saw a couple people went over and subscribed to your YouTube. That's cool.
Thank you. Yes. We're just starting out.
Wierenfeld says, cannonballing rules and thanks us for an EU-friendly podcast. Yeah, because of the earlier time today.
I see.
People in Europe are still up.
Very nice.
Miguel says, since I'm a watch nerd, what is my take on smartwatches, Apple Watches, etc.? I think they are appliances in the same way that Priuses, microwaves, and my phone.
Model 3s.
Yeah. I mean, I that too. I mean, I think it's an appliance. I really like the health monitoring features that are available as wearables. I think the fact that there is an EKG machine that you can wear 24/7, and if it detects you about to have a heart attack, it'll call 911 or at least alert you.
Apple just rolled that out recently.
That's
really cool.
That's incredible.
Wild.
What I'd love to see, my favorite would be if someone came out with a little thing that went under, which is right where your pulse is, by the way.
Yeah.
That went right under the clasp of your mechanical watch, and I could wear that, get those health features.
You keep your good watches, everything. You don't have to wear
I don't want to wear an Apple
No.
Watch. I don't want to fucking get smart on my on my wrist.
But that's a great idea.
But I want that feature.
Someone please do that.
Someone might, but
Okay.
I think that's the shit I want to see.
That's
so,
cool.
Other than that, smartwatches, like if you have a use for one, that's cool. But I'm a little more analog than that. Adam Drummond says, what do you guys think of the Lexus GS 450h Performance Hybrid? I'm looking at picking up an 07 to 11 model. Ever try one?
I know nothing about it other than it's probably going to work for a long time, and it's probably going to be a 7 out of 10 performance.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I like the GS. The GS is a lovely car.
Very comfortable.
It uses a lot of hardware from the LS, but in a smaller package, which it makes it even more durable than in the LS. I've never driven a 450h hybrid. I have driven the new LC Coupe hybrid.
Would you go V8 or hybrid?
I would go V8 because the V8 is particularly good.
And the transmission sounds like it cracks off the ships.
Fucking tits, that car.
Yeah.
I love
and
the
it
LC500.
looks so sexy. I like it in silver particularly. So
because it looks like a concept car.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, silver and red are really the grid colors.
I'm
on that
so
car.
happy Lexus made that thing.
It's a beautiful fucking car. There's a GS with the same hybrid system as the LC's hybrid system. I drove it. If that was the only system available, I'd be like, okay. Like, it was actually pretty fast and pretty fun. I am not anti-performance hybrid, and I'm pro used Lexus.
Yes, I mean, it's a great value. You're not going to lose any money. But I wish it was a plug-in hybrid personally, because then you can force it to drive EV. I mean, in 2007 that wasn't really a thing. Yeah. But plug-in hybrids I like.
The superhero freak has a 93 Mazda MX-5 and would like to upgrade the suspension. Stay stock or get a Flying Miata Stage 1.5 kit. I prefer a comfy ride but like the twisties. Is that kit too aggressive? I live in Pittsburgh where roads are kind of shitty.
That's very specific.
I like a specific question. Specific questions are great. So I race an MX-5.
Yeah. Do you fit in an NA?
Not very well, but I race an NC.
Okay, you have an NC. So
I don't have it, but I race my friend's NC.
I see. Okay,
and they're approximately my size, and so they modified it for tall drivers, and it's very comfortable and good.
Cool.
But the race cars, you know, the spec Miata race cars are not set up particularly stiff, and you shouldn't set your Miata up particularly stiff either. They don't need to be stiff to be good. They need to be a bit lower than stock, but you need a performance shock or a coilover. Do they use the coilovers with those? It's coilovers.
You can.
Yeah. You know, a nice Flying Miata shit. Like, what I would do is call Flying Miata, and they're so helpful.
They build those gnarly V8 ones.
Yes, which I've driven.
One?
Yeah, the ND.
I wanted one so bad.
The ND V8 is so great because it's manageable.
Wait, ND V8?
Yeah, the new one. They have an ND with like a Lingenfelter V8 in it. It's a fucking monster. It's great fun.
Sick. It's perfect.
Yeah. But their suspensions are not too stiff. I don't know about their specific stages.
Okay.
But stage 1.5 doesn't sound like something that's too aggressive.
It's not a 7 or a big number.
If they go to 3, I don't know, let's assume they go to 3, 1.5 should be all right.
You don't want to go too aggressive for the street on any car. You want that tire to stay on the ground over bumps.
And don't get big rims. Also, big rims. Yeah,
tires help a lot.
Ignore the temptation to get big rims.
Sure, they look nice, but having a nice meaty tire is nice.
Yeah. Carlos says, would Tesla be better off today if they'd made an SUV that fit today's buyer's needs better than the wacky Model X or a crossover? I think the Model X was too complex for its own good, and it cost them a lot of financial and emotional and technical problems.
I think Elon's mentioned that too. I mean, I like the Model X. That. Yeah, we've done some fun things with it. We've taken it off-road in mud over the hood, and we towed a semi-truck up a snowy hill with it. And
I think Elon literally said never again.
Right.
Yeah.
That car is way too wild. Right.
I had problems with the Falcon doors.
The early ones all did.
Whoever made the decision to make the door handles line up is a fucking moron.
Because they'll never line up.
It's a build quality indicator. It's like having a level.
Yeah. Look at any Model X in traffic. You'll see what we're talking about. It hurts your eyes.
Some are good. Some are terrible. It's random. I think if the Model X were a little more conventional, that probably would have been helpful. But without the Falcon doors, it's just ugly. So
there's nothing redeemed. Like the Falcon doors are cool. The windshield is badass. Early ones had a problem with ghosting, where you'd see like two cars at the same time, which was really trippy at like 3 a.m. You're driving. But I actually love the Model X as a technical exercise, but I don't think it's a great production car.
I agree with you. I think it might have been a little better if they had done an attractive crossover as a second car. But
I think the e-tron, if you have to buy an electric SUV and range isn't the biggest deal, I think the e-tron is the best looking and most functional SUV.
Good to know. Amatore 911 says, I'd love an EV as my daily, but live in an apartment and don't have access to a place to charge it. What's the best argument to make to my landlord to have access to an outlet? I think that they could charge more for the next guy is one.
So we actually work with this a lot. And a couple things. I believe in California, there is a new law that's passed or it's about to go through where your landlord is legally obligated to allow you to pay to put in a charger.
Oh, okay.
So there's nothing they can say with, no, you can't do this, which is great. Secondly, if you're going to buy an EV for commuting, literally run an extension cord out to it and plug it in a wall outlet. My little smart car, I have an electric smart car. I leased it for like...
Depends how far your commute is. Your commute could be far.
Right, yeah. I mean, but so like, let's say you drive 20 miles there and back. In LA, that takes a long time in traffic. I mean, he didn't say where
he didn't say.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. If you can drive less than 60 miles a day, buy a short-range EV, Fiat 500e, electric smart.
Leftover volt,
absolutely. Plug it into a wall outlet. You'll recharge that thing to full, and you don't have to worry about a level 2.
Yeah. That's what that works. Yeah. If you rent the apartment, yeah. I mean, he does. He is a landlord. Yeah. I don't think you want to spend like $2,000 to have a 240 charger put in,
unless you'll be there for years. But no, probably not.
But if you want to convince the landlord to like somehow split it with you or something, they could definitely charge the next guy more because it's there.
People will live in places and go to restaurants and use facilities just to support the people who put in charging.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I do it. I go to restaurants that have chargers.
My sister got her when she had the Volt. She bought a second gen Volt after she convinced her apartment building, which was a large corporate building, not just like one person in Santa Monica, to put in an extra charger. Yeah, because the people who took their 2 chargers like weren't leaving, and she wasn't leaving either.
Right. Yeah.
Su Hong Kim says, I was asking a couple months ago that I was looking at a GT350, a Camaro ZL1, or a BMW M2, but I got a Lotus Evora on Bring a Trailer for $36K.
Is it a Evora S? Does she say?
He didn't say it's an S. $36K sounds like not an S to me.
Right.
But British reliability is different when you're talking about an Evora because it's a Camry engine.
It's a Toyota V6.
Proven gearbox. They use Toyota electronics. You might run into some little hiccups with like the trunk release and stuff like that, but I have never really heard of anyone having like catastrophically bad issues with an Evora.
I have on early production cars. I know dealers would have them like completely go out before test drives and stuff like that, but I think a lot of that was solved with after the first batch of cars. I love the Evora. I think it's a great value, and it's a nice alternative to like a boring Cayman, although the Cayman's a great car too.
Well, speaking of which, last question before we get out of here. Jack wants to know, I drive between Buffalo and Westchester. That's where we're from, monthly. Cargo space is not of much importance. I'm looking between an 09 and up 987 Cayman or a late BMW 135i. Suggestions. Interesting choices. I think if you are of the size where you can fit in a Cayman, I'd rather do it in a Cayman.
They're great value. The 987 gen, you can get like a Cayman S. Don't get a base Cayman, in my opinion. Get
They're kind of slow.
They're really slow.
The 27's really slow.
Yeah. And so you get a Cayman S, manual, silver, black, boring color. You're not going to lose much money on that car.
Yeah.
I think the other option was a 135.
Yeah.
Good luck with fuel pumps and everything else. If you're going to be driving
those cars are kind of like little sleepers. Like you can make them super fast. Yeah.
I have a friend with one that lady driven. She pulled out of my apartment complex one time and like laid a quarter-mile burnout in one. Just like laid rubber. Here's
why I say Cayman, and I say it because when you have a mid-engine car or a rear-engine car, your suspension geometries are going to give you the handling you are looking for while also dealing with bumpy-ass roads around Westchester better than any front-engine sporty car can, because it can use longer control arms, it can do all kinds of different things. Everything gets softer, so don't get rims that are too big. And actually a Porsche is. Oh, you have an Evora in your picture there, don't you? And actually,
it's a Tesla Roadster.
Oh, it's a Roadster. Oh, yeah. I think the Caymans are lovely to drive around Westchester.
Yep. And it looks the part.
It does, and their Caymans are quite efficient on the highway because they're aerodynamic.
Well
and
over
light.
30 miles per gallon.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Kyle Connor, Virtual Kyle on Instagram, Out of Spec Motoring on YouTube. Like and subscribe.
Please, yes.
Like and
We're
subscribe.
Just starting out, but we'll appreciate the support for anyone interested in EVs.
Well, it seems like you're doing interesting things. I think you will have... sorry about that, folks. I think you will have... a time of it. And I think you'll do well.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks
for having me on the show.
Represent New Canaan. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sorry we can't do the full two, but
There's always
but
the
I
future.
got wife time.
Yeah.
You can come back when the building's done in Studio 2.
Can't wait.
Check out Ludicrous, the unvarnished story of Tesla Motors. It's on newsstands sometime in the middle of August. I don't know exactly when, but I blasted through it. This says August 20th, 2019. Oh, they say on the back. Interview requests, etc. Perfect. Media copies, FTW. I really liked it. I don't think it's a hit piece at all. I think it just takes a look at things that happened.
We need factual information on companies like this without any personal excitement getting in the way.
While I haven't researched the behind that book,
Right.
I just read it. I think
It's written
Ed's
by a very
motivations
reputable-
are
yeah.
good, and I don't think it's bullshit. I
Yep.
think we're looking at reality here.
Good,
So,
good.
Kyle, thank you for coming in. It's a good show. Smoking Tire Podcast is powered by Shout Engine. Get your own damn podcast at shoutengine.com. It's easy. All you need is a microphone, a connection to the internet, and ideally something to say. Have a good day, folks. We will see you next week.